Mention is the north end reconfiguration is still moving along. It's all been approved by the board. They're still deciding a few things, like what kind of carpet do we want in the new computer room. I'll ask my wife. I don't do colors or carpets or things like that, just so we get the room. So they have to figure out what carpet. There's a few other questions they have in the kiln room, how to close the doors and different things. But the contract has been let, so pretty soon we'll see some action, and moving us into the aerobics room sometime in the future. That's why we got all this money in reserve to come up with some computers and a TV set to hook it up. So that's moving along pretty good. We also have some preliminary bids from various people around North County as to the type of computers we want to put in there. So we're still working that out with 3 or 4 different people, including Fry's. So we'll decide that once we see the room and make sure what we want. So it's moving along pretty sharply. June, we're not sure what we're going to do. We're sure what we're going to do. Where is Clarice? Are you here? Oh, there's Clarice. Yeah, stand up. Clarice not only is our secretary, but she also has a great party in the planning stages for August 14th. Which is going to be also, we're going to join the Village Squares party, the Village Squares Club, and have a combined party, along with...
Coming along really well.
What are we going to have to eat? We're going to have a lot of...
That's the most important.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have ribs and brisket, and Harriet is also my co-chair person, so she's helping me out here. Ribs and brisket and what's the third thing? Chicken barbecue. And it's being catered by Brett's in Encinitas. They do excellent work. Harriet has been there. She took a group there, and they enjoyed every bit of the dinner. Plus the bread pudding for dessert, which is excellent because it has a whiskey sauce that goes over it. And I think he's going to put whipped cream on top of that.
What about the entertainment?
Well, the entertainment will be supplied by the square dancers. We're planning to have 2 squares, and then we want you to all be acceptable to come out and dance with us too. Each person in the square will come out and get a new person, and we'll form another square or 2. So that should be fun. And since it's Western, you can dress casually in Western clothes.
Thank you, Clarice. Yeah, so we expect to have a lot of fun. August 14th, at the party right here in Ocean Hills. Okay, so right after Dennis Fisher's, before I introduce Dennis, right after Dennis Fisher's presentation, there will be refreshments, of course, provided by Gloria Rothenberg and Harriet Macaulay, and there's nice healthy refreshments back there. And also Hal will be presenting the raffle prizes afterwards. Okay, now if you have questions, I guess Dennis wants you to hold them for a while until he gets through part of the presentation. And then Dennis will try to remember, right, to repeat the questions, so that we can all know what the questions are before you come up with the answers. I don't know, I used to be a consultant. I used to have a lot of answers, but I never knew what the hell the questions were. I hope you don't do that, okay. All right, yes, Betty. Oh, you need it. There's 3 or 4 of them back there. If somebody, I'll get them for you. I'll get them for you. Okay, we'll get them for you before the raffle. Okay, without further ado, it's about 1, so we're going to go to about 2 o'clock probably. And then of course we have to get out of here after questions around 2:15 for the square. Helen. 1, 2, okay. Here's Dennis Fisher.
Introducing Dennis Fisher. Let me get some batteries.
Right back.
Thank you, everybody. I don't know if I need a microphone. First question is, how many people have Windows 7 already? Just about everybody. And eventually, the rest of you will probably end up with Windows 7 or a Mac.
Please use the mic.
He doesn't have battery.
He's getting a battery. I'll try to talk loud. I'll project. But I have a lot of slides to go through, so hold all your questions until the end. Write them down if you have a notepad, and I will get to them, as many as I can. I'm going to cover a lot of ground, history of the operating systems, and how we reached this point in the evolution of operating system called Windows 7, which is the highest evolution that computer operating systems have achieved. So it's a big group of areas I have covered. Okay, so Windows 7, it comes in actually 6 flavors, but there's a 32-bit and a 64-bit. But what is Windows 7? What are they selling us? They come out with this fancy packaging and pretty colors and stuff, but what does it do for us? What's our benefit by going to Windows 7? Why do we have to spend another $200 to Bill Gates for this upgrade? And what Windows 7 is the newest operating system. An operating system, we have to know what that is too. Why do we need an operating system? So basic definition of an operating system is a program, or in case of Windows 7, it's a set of multiple programs which enables the basic communication within the computer. If I break that down a little bit, is the operating system allows the keyboard, the mouse, the printer, the hard drive to communicate with each other with the programs like Word or Excel. If we just had Excel, we wouldn't be able to print anything because Excel, the program, doesn't have any print capabilities. That's within the printer and the operating system that does that. Just said another way, it's the software, it controls all the resources. So in a computer you have memory, and we all know you can't have enough memory because the computer will run terrible if you don't have enough memory. The CPU is the engine. That's the thing that does all the calculating, and you can't have a faster processor. Faster always means better because it will less time used waiting there in front of your screen for something to happen. The operating system also tells where the files should go on your hard disk, where the storage is put, and also the input-output devices, which are your keyboard, mouse, printers, scanners, all those little parts. This is a nice little... I hear the ghost. This diagram up here shows us that the operating system is the manager between, for example, your programs at the corner your programs has to go through the operating system before it can actually get to the printer. We follow the arrows.
Thank you so much.
Here comes my mic.
Testing. It's working. Oh, boy. All right.
Here's my voice.
Once again, Dennis Fisher.
Thank you, Dick. Yeah, my name is Dick Travis. Dennis Fisher. Thanks for the mic. So the applications go through the operating system like Excel to print, or the keyboard has to go through the operating system to type. Anything that you want to see on your screen is displayed has to go through the operating system. So we need an operating system, and we've had a lot of different ones in the past. I'm going to cover some of the ones that we had in the past. This is just another diagram that shows the same thing. The operating system is the manager. It controls everything that happens with the programs and your hardware. If you don't have an operating system, none of that stuff works. this is the Microsoft timeline. There's other operating systems that are out there, the Mac, the Linux, Unix operating systems, but this is the Microsoft, and since we're talking about Windows 7, I'm just going to cover their history, their progress in operating systems. And we had DOS, we had Windows 3X, we had Windows 95, 98, and those are called the ones on the left side are the DOS-based operating systems. So Windows 3X was actually two operating systems. It was DOS on top of this GUI called Windows 3X. And the same with Windows 95, it had DOS in it. Windows 98 had DOS as its disk operating system, but it had a GUI on top of it, which was the graphical user interface, which was the screen that we see in the background. And then the other side is the 32-bit operating systems. I found this on the internet, and I just thought it was hilarious, but you could see, you know, Bill Gates, one of the richest men on the earth right now, if not the richest. Up there in 1977, he got pulled over for going through a red light and driving without a license. And who would have thought that guy would have been so rich and control the world? And that, it kind of shows the timeline of the operating system starting in '91, when they really started making money. The personal computers were kind of working before that, but not really till DOS came around. And this is DOS screen. How many people recognize the screen? DOS, it was fun to use. Everything we did in DOS, you typed in the command. dir, cmd, all those commands that you had. It was the operating system itself was everything. You could see the A drive, and so you had a list of programs that were there. That was the whole operating system. It was a group of programs that kind of ran the computer. Came in 1991. When you have an operating system, you have to have the minimum hardware requirements. So you have to have a computer, a box, that will run the operating system. And Microsoft has always had this thing where you had to have a certain minimum requirements for the computer to run. If you didn't have these parts inside your computer would not run. The operating system would not run. So they wanted this processor, the 286, and you needed to have those big floppy disks. You need to have 64K of RAM and a 10 megabyte hard drive. Pretty big for back then. And a lot of people could not go to DOS initially because they didn't have those hardware requirements. And then we came with Windows 3.1, the big leap, where they have a graphical user interface. Instead of that black screen, we have these icons. And you click on the icon, instead of typing in format HD or format C/S, you would punch a button with the mouse and it would do it for you. So pressing the icon with the mouse button represent typing in that command. And so this was a big step. This is like a big step in operating systems, because now we got a GUI, a lot easier. You don't have to memorize typing in all those commands. And a lot of us are one-finger typers. How many one-finger typers are out here? I know most of you. Some of you didn't raise your hands. Okay. So with Windows 3.1, all of a sudden, instead of a 286 processor, we need a 386 processor. We needed an engine that would run faster to do those commands, because it's starting to get more complicated. We needed 2 megabytes of RAM. We needed an 8 megabyte hard drive. We need more and better of everything. And when when operating systems are evolving, the hardware has to evolve along with it so that it can do what the operating system wants to do. Windows NT, that's the Microsoft's attempt to get into the business world with their first business operating system was this NT. Very problematic. Not too many hardware devices would work with it. It was very problematic. Now, instead of a 286 or a 386 processor, we need a 486. I had a 486. So, and they were slow. But these are the minimum requirements. It probably wouldn't run on very fast on a 486. You needed 16 megabytes of RAM, you needed a 110 megabyte hard drive, which the hard drive back then would probably sell for about $500 alone. Parts were expensive back then, very expensive. Windows 95 came around August 1995. That was a breakthrough operating system. They added a program called Plug and Play. And what that was, it was the ability for the operating system to auto-detect, for example, if you installed a USB printer. It had a database of drivers that it got from the manufacturer, and they built this into the operating system so that sometimes all you had to do is just plug in your printer or plug in your mouse. You didn't have to configure anything yourself. The operating system would do it for you. And that's how we benefit from a good operating system. It does more for us. And that's what we want. We want it easier. Oh, well, they say you need a 386, 4 megabytes of RAM, but these are the minimum requirements. I know with Windows XP, the prices too. Oh, every time there's an upgrade, they're going to sock you for another $1, $2, $3, $4, $500, as much as they can get for Bill Gates. Windows 98, a lot of us started on Windows 98. It needs a faster processor, again. It needs more memory, again. It needs more hard drive space and more money. Windows 2000, this is really where XP is built on, is the kernel of the Windows 2000 operating system. The kernel is the main part of the operating system. So this Windows 2000 is the lineage. From here down, it's Windows 2000, XP, Vista, Windows 7. This is where they keep building that concept of the architecture of this operating system is the architecture of the Windows 7 operating system. And this one needs a Pentium 133 megahertz, so it's even more memory, 32 megabytes of RAM, 650 gigabyte hard drive, CD-ROM or DVD player to put the operating system in, and oh yeah, another $320. Windows ME. This is their last failed attempt to put a DOS operating system on top of a GUI, and of course they got bad reviews on Windows ME and they discontinued it. GUI, what's a GUI? A GUI means graphical user interface. That means you click on an icon and instead of typing in the commands like we did in DOS, by clicking on it represents the command, typing in that command. Graphical user interface. So the mouse screen, the icons, that's all the GUI. That came out in September 2000. XP, August 2001. Faster processor, 64 megabytes of RAM, 128 megabytes recommended. That doesn't sound right to me. If you don't have 512 megabytes of RAM on your computer and you're running XP, it's slow. It's slow. But this is Microsoft's recommendations, not mine. Vista. Well, Vista, it got a bad rap, but partly because the processors back when it came out in November 2006 weren't fast enough to run it. They weren't able to go through the complicated shortcuts that they built into the operating system and the search program that they have perfected in 7 on Vista. They just it wasn't fast enough. And so they got a bad rub with Vista. But you can see you need, the point I'm trying to make is when you have an operating system, you have to have the right parts for it to run. If you want to upgrade your Windows XP computer to Windows 7, probably not. Don't spend your money on buying the operating system. Buy another computer, buy a new computer that has a faster CPU, faster memory, faster hard drive, and all that. Upgrading with Windows 7, not good. Doesn't work too often. So this came out on October 22nd, 2009. They say it will run on a 1 gigahertz processor. I doubt it. You need a gigabyte of RAM. That sounds reasonable. 4 gigabytes is what I'm running. You need to have, one thing's not listed here, you need to have video RAM. You need to have, because of the GUI, the graphics on it is so complicated, you have to have a RAM memory on your video card. So this is just from the Microsoft website. They say that Windows 7 is faster than XP. Faster and easier than Vista. Probably about a little faster than XP, and a lot faster than Vista, I would say, because the amount of clicks that you have, they've taken out multiple clicking on some things. Multi-core processors. This is why Windows 7 is running so fast, is because Intel and AMD came out with a new processor last year. It's called the i7 processor. And the i7 processor is, this one is a dual core processor. It has 2 cores up there. And this is a processor. You see the 2 cores up there? Before that, they were single core processors. So it's kind of like a 1-cylinder engine. And then they came out with a dual core 4 years ago. And now they have an 8-core processor, the i7 processor. So it's like an 8-cylinder engine. When you have that kind of raw horsepower in the processor, anything on that processor is going to run good. But you need to have an operating system that knows that you have a dual core or quad core or an 8-core processor. It knows to send the information out to each one of those cylinders, for example. If the operating system and the processor has to understand each other. And so an XP running on a Windows Intel 7 processor would probably run not as fast as a Windows 7 processor, because Windows 7 understands that there are these other cylinders, an 8-cylinder engine. It can send information to all 8 cylinders and it will run faster. Okay, now we're going to talk about the GUI. What's better about it? So they added the search engine right at the bottom here, right off the start button, but it's just this blue marble. You have down here where it's typed in test, you can search your entire hard drive for everything that has the word test in it. Or if you're searching for a picture, you could find any picture, if you remember the date you took it or anything about it. It is now the operating system, Windows 7, is journalizing every file that goes into your computer so that you can find your files faster. And when you have a lot of data on your computer, you need to find it faster. And they spent a lot of time developing this search program where it journalizes all your files. The taskbar. The taskbar, I'll give you a little demonstration on that, is instead of having shortcuts on your desktop, you can pin them to this taskbar. And this taskbar also will keep track of all the files that you open, all your music that you open, all the documents that you open. It keeps track of that so that you can get to it, go back to it faster. That's another way that Windows 7 will save you time. troubleshooting and monitoring. For me, when I'm troubleshooting viruses, Task Manager usually doesn't identify all the programs that are running. And so they've taken this Task Manager to another level called Resource Monitor. And in this picture here, you can see that all these little files here are run by Outlook itself, and these are the programs that are running underneath it. And so if Outlook was crashing, for example, or you needed to shut it down, you can shut down Outlook and all its sub-programs in one big bunch. Or if there was a virus in the computer, I would be able to easily disable it, supposedly. Okay, another good thing about Windows 7, Action Center or Security Center. So in the control panel, there are a lot of new icons there that have to do with taking care of your computer. And Windows 7 is going to make it easier for us to secure our computer and maintain our computer. So you can disable some functions within Windows 7 to make it run faster, so it doesn't have all the bells and whistles on it. And you can also, it will notify you if there's updates or if there's a problem with a hard drive. Talking about problems with the hard drive, Windows 7 has a backup built into it. So a lot of companies are going to be a little disturbed by that because they make their money on selling backup software. And this is built into Windows 7 now, and it's a great backup program. It allows you to pick what you want to back up, or just go with the Windows 7 backup, which it knows about your documents and all that other stuff. So as long as you have a USB drive or an external hard drive, Windows 7, you can schedule a backup over the internet to another computer. Pretty nice. I really like this feature. Home group. I just put Windows 7 on this laptop. It had Vista on it, and last night, and literally in 5 minutes, I had this laptop network with my tower, and I was sharing the printer. I was able to get to my documents and copy over my PowerPoint presentation onto my laptop just by creating this home group, which it makes networking really easy, the easiest I've ever seen. Much better than Vista, much easier than XP. It's the highest evolution of networking in any operating system I've seen. Much better than the Mac. Firewall. They gave us the ability to manipulate the firewall instead of just turning it on and off. No, you can mingle with it. You could change some of the settings. You can allow things, disable things. It's a really nice firewall. I don't know how many of you remember that Windows XP firewall initially crashed or would block everything, and then they updated it, and then there was issues with that. And Windows Vista, their firewall was, you couldn't do anything with it really. It was either on or off. But this one, they allow you to customize it. Another thing I like about Windows 7 is the Explorer window. From this one window, you can get to your documents. You can get to you could visually see how much space you have on your hard drive. You can see what disks are connected to your computer. You can get to your network. You can get to your home group. You can map a hard drive. You can uninstall a program. In this one upgrade here, this Windows Explorer upgrade, you could do anything that you do for maintaining your computer in one spot. They get a gold star for that. Okay, why get Windows 7? This is what they say. Everyday tasks are simpler. Yes, yes and no. Yes, if you have, a new computer. If it's running on a slow computer, it's still going to be slower. They really are pushing the live taskbar. They really like that customization there of the taskbar. And it's a good upgrade, but I'm not too thrilled with the taskbar because you can't move it down. It's bigger. It does work good on laptops too. It hibernates well, and it displays the fonts well. They say there's an XP mode in it where it will run your XP programs. From my experience, yes. We've installed some Windows XP programs on some of your computers and they worked. But I still recommend the Windows 7 programs, upgrade your programs. What I don't like, oh boy, no email program. For a lot of us, emails are our life. We have everything on our emails. We have our bank, we have our life story, everything is kept track on an email. And then Windows 7 doesn't have an email program. They want you to buy the full version of Outlook, which is about $200 to get Microsoft Office Standard. So I don't like that. There are free email programs out there, but to migrate Outlook Express emails and address book and settings is, as Linda knows, is a chore. It's a lot of work. Many, many steps to get that done. I spent at least an hour migrating those emails to Outlook. The taskbar at the bottom, which I'm about to show you, gets some used to. Yeah, it's clumsy at first. And I don't like the high cost. Lastly, the last thing I don't like about it is Windows 7 64-bit, which is the newest and latest and greatest Windows 7. This is 64-bit. There's a 32-bit. I'll cover a little bit of that later. There's a driver issue if you have, Hewlett-Packard printers or Epson printers or little unusual devices. You have to have the software program to run it. That's what a driver is. It's the software program that runs the printer or the scanner or whatever. So that's the downside. Got the 6 flavors. The Home Premium, you can see that the OEM price, that means that's what the manufacturer pays. That's not what we'll pay. If you have a disc, like an old XP disc, you can get the upgrade price. The full version price is $200. They do have family packs. That's one thing that they came out with that I really liked. I have Windows 7 Professional, because that Windows 7 Professional has the XP mode. So you can install your XP programs on it. The Windows 7 Ultimate, I don't know if you need that, but that is very expensive, $320. Briefly about the differences between the 64-bit and the 32-bit. A 32-bit operating system, without getting too technical, just means that the operating system can only access 4 gigs of RAM. You can't go past that, the operating system won't recognize it. The 64-bit gigabyte, the operating system can see 192 gigabytes of RAM, but who's going to use that? Who's going to buy that much memory? I think 4 gigs are enough, and so just go with the 32. Okay, if you buy Windows 7 and you want to install it on your laptop or your computer, it's very easy. It's probably the easiest install I've ever done. The operating system has that plug-and-play ability that I was talking about earlier, where it has a database of known drivers for printers, keyboards, mouse, sound card, video cards, all the little components that make up a computer. It has that in a database, and it will auto-configure those devices for you. You won't, most of the time, you won't have to do a single thing. Just put the disk in and go next, next, next. That was the easiest install I ever did. Yeah, it took about 20 minutes too. On a Windows XP machine, you could spend 45 minutes on a install. If you want to upgrade and you have XP, you can't do it. You have to start over. You have to erase the hard drive and reinstall the operating system. So you'll lose all your data, all your programming stuff. If you have Vista, you can put Windows 7 right on top of it. So if you want to install it, if you have a Vista machine, more than likely it is compatible with Windows 7. You have enough RAM memory, you have a big enough processor to run it. But if you have XP, probably not. If you're not sure and you have Windows 7, they have the Upgrade Advisor on the website for Microsoft. And the Upgrade Advisor will advise you either get the 64-bit operating system or the 32-bit operating system. They'll tell you if the hardware that's on your computer is compatible or not. It will tell you if your software is compatible or not, if you're doing an upgrade. And it will give you a report and give you an idea whether you should go ahead and take a chance and run the disk or not and risk losing everything, which, you know, could happen. So I think, just to recap, what is an operating system? It's the key component of your computer. It's a software program that runs all the hardware. It's, Windows 7 is the highest evolution of where we are in technology, the best operating system available. It is faster if you have the right parts, and it is fun to work with. It's easier to work with. The downsides are no email program, and the icons all work the same. It's all kind of like XP, it's all kind of like Windows 2000, but you're able to customize some things more, and they've taken a few things more away. And I think that's all I got for you. Questions? I saw your answer.
First thing, I thought I could talk a lot. As far as, I got a Vista now. And,
Can you hear?
What a deep voice.
The cost, okay, to go to a no email program, what do you do?
You have to buy Microsoft Office Standard Edition has.
Yes, if you don't have an email program, what do? Microsoft Office has Outlook. So there's no more Outlook Express, there's no Windows Mail, which is part of Vista. They've scrapped all that. And they, either you get, do webmail, like Cox has webmail, Google Mail, Yahoo Mail, Gmail. I recommend Gmail, it's great, it's easy to use, and it's free. If you get Microsoft Office Standard Edition, it's $200. $200 versus free. So it depends what you're used to. Yes?
I have a computer that I bought last year, and it says Vista and 7. Now, does that mean I can switch into 7 somehow? I don't know.
Good question. A lot of people bought computers that had Vista on it with the ability to upgrade later. So if you bought a computer and it has Windows Vista on it and it has that, you actually have to contact Hewlett Packard or Dell and say, I want my upgrade disk. Otherwise, they're gonna give that disk to somebody else, for example. If you don't ask for it, you won't get it. Yeah, so a lot of people did do that recently. Larry, I think, did that. He upgraded to Windows 7. He originally came with Vista, right, Larry? Any other questions?
If you buy a new computer, do you have to have Vista 7 or Windows 7 on it?
Right now, that's all they're selling new. I think you can buy Vista operating systems on the internet and XP machines on the internet, but they're very hard to get.
Yes, I have Windows 7, and I've been trying to get my XP printer to work, and I've uninstalled, tried to reinstall, because it's just not compatible with it.
Good question. Oh. Yeah, there are several printer problems initially, but I haven't had a problem in the last couple of months. It seems like the manufacturer, what is your printer?
Hewlett Packard?
It's a yes, it's Hewlett Packard, multi-function, 5610, I think.
Yes, the Hewlett Packard will not, when you buy your printer, Windows 7 wasn't out yet, and so they didn't have the driver or the software program that runs that printer designed yet. But on the Hewlett Packard website, if you type in your model, you will see that there's a Windows 7 version. And you might have Windows 7 32-bit, or you might have Windows 7 64-bit. And they have to, like Linda was telling me, they have to match. So
It gives the option of either or, and so I picked the 64 first, and that didn't work, so I picked the 32, and it still didn't work. So today I went and bought a camera.
oh boy. I'm sure the Canon will work.
Will all the programs that you bought, the software programs for Vista, will they work on 7?
Yes. All the programs that you have on Vista will work on 7.
Talking about transferring your software from XP to Windows 7. And what are the problems? How would you do that without losing, you're talking about, all your data on all your programs on your XP?
If you have XP and you want to upgrade to 7, you can't do it.
I have a laptop. I want to share it. Carry stuff. Programs I have on XP. Put them on the Windows 7 laptop.
You would have to have the disk for that. If you have, for example, Office on your tower and you want Office on your laptop. No, they have to be installed. When you install a program, what that does is it merges, it's the program that merges with the operating system and the program and your printer and keyboard and mouse. So it kind of, you have to have it installed. And to do that, you need the disk or the exe file to do that.
Can't hear.
You have a question? Oh, I'm going to give you the mic then.
Okay, and you set up my computer, so hopefully you can help me out. First of all, sometimes when I'm doing my email, the thing jumps, my Windows 7, it jumps. And it sends an email before I'm finished actually typing it. And I've talked to a friend that has a similar problem. It's like, and I know how to send emails, I've been doing this for years, but it's like it's jumping all over. Is there something that I'm doing?
I'm going to throw this out to all you guys. Anybody have any idea why her email was jumping?
You're probably hitting a button on the keyboard. Don't put in who you're sending it to until you finish typing it in, and then it can't go anywhere.
if you accidentally bump the keyboard, she says it might cause it to jump, but I don't think, never did it before. What's your email program? Cox, is that the webmail? Is that? I don't remember. I thought I was Dick Travis a little while ago.
You're better looking than Dick.
And then Cox, I still had the same email, and Cox had put my name, they changed my name to another name, but they put it on the same, I'm on the Outlook Express on my Windows 7, so I can get it. I'm getting my Outlook Express with the other name, plus the same name with my one from AT&T.
Okay. You had another question?
Pops up Adobe Systems. It says, do you want to allow the following program to make changes to this computer? And I never know what to say, yes or no.
Adobe is two important programs. They're not part of the operating system. They have nothing to do with Windows 7. Adobe is a PDF reader program, and they also have another thing that they add to your operating system as a program that plays videos called Flash Player. And so, for security reasons, yes, Adobe you want to update. Update your antivirus, update your Adobe, update your Java, and update your Windows 7.
I have many programs that run on Windows XP, and when I upgraded to Windows Vista and I installed it, they do run, but they don't run properly. Question is, would they run on Windows 7?
I think they would run better on Windows 7. You would need the professional version, which has XP mode. Depending on your processor, that's your engine in your computer. If you have a multi-core processor, a quad-core processor, and you're running a program that's only designed for a single-core processor, it's not going to run good on that. You would need the newer version of whatever program you're running. What programs are you running, sir?
One of the older programs I have is Adobe Photo Deluxe. And of course, Photoshop is an upgraded version of Photo Deluxe, and it doesn't run very well on Vista. In other programs, like I have a C compiler that runs fine on XP, and it doesn't run on Vista, so I had to upgrade that too.
We're all in the same boat. I'm in the same boat as you're in the same boat. Some programs do not work well that run good on a single core processor, because processors have evolved, the hardware has evolved. And so when they wrote the program that you're talking about, your Adobe Photo program, it was designed for a single core processor running on a certain amount of memory. Hardware is completely different now. They're multi-core processors. So that's why these companies keep turning out updated versions, Windows 7 compatible. We're all in the same boat. We're all spending more money, basically. Okay.
I have another question that's been happening with the new computer. Is that all of a sudden a pop-up comes up and says, and the internet is no longer working. And you have three choices, turn it off, etc.
Frank Petronella has the same problem.
So do I.
Anybody that's got Cox has got the same problem.
Join us.
Gail has the answer right here. Gail, just happened yesterday. We'll answer this question.
Well,
Go ahead.
yes, I went through the same problem, and I find that Cox was my source of the problem, thinking of Cox.
Open up.
They finally came out, and from the junction box to the modem router, they figured out how to upload calibrate my strength because it was out of the bounds, and yet on the phone, they assured me that I was inbound. And once I put my foot down and said, I want a real person doing a real job, they came out and fixed it.
Could you
On
repeat
that
that? We
point,
can't hear.
What she said is, initially when you call Cox and say, hey, my internet's down, they're gonna say, it's your computer. You have messed up your computer. And quit calling us because we're busy. But what was happening is the signal strength to Gail's computer was dropping out, and she was losing her email. She went out and bought a new computer because the Cox person on the phone told her computer was too old. It was 10 years old, so that, yeah.
You were doing it.
But that's what's happening. Your internet service provider is at fault. You have to actually stand up and say, no, it's not my computer. I want you to test my signal strength. I should be getting a certain amount of speed on my computer, and I'm not getting it. And don't just kind of brush me off, and I want you to hear what I have to say and get somebody out here that can fix this. Now Gail's internet is working great after she did that.
What did she
and
do?
a brand new
What did she do? I have a brand new computer which you installed, and I get that all the time. The Internet Explorer not working.
The Internet Explorer is not working, so as I drove in today, I saw 2 Cox trucks right out in front there, blocking the entrance to Ocean Hills, trying to fix them. There's a problem. They're having big problems here in the village. Frank knows about the problem. Gail knows about the problem. I know about the problem. If you haven't, you have to call. Only the squeaky wheel will get the grease, is what I'm trying to say. So call them, demand that they fix it.
Windows 7 has also a possibility of transferring from your old computer to the new one with a cable. There's a software available, and you can buy a cable which hook up to your XP and transfer all your, not software, but your files over. I purchased the cable already, but I didn't try to transfer anything yet.
Okay, so there's a transfer program in Windows 7, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
On my Vista, I do have a mouse sign jumping all around the page. After the Vista warms up for about 10-15 minutes, then that mouse sign goes all over, and I can't get it back.
The mouse jumping around. If it's a wireless mouse, that usually means low battery strength. If it's a wired mouse, that usually means...
It's in the computer, the mouse.
It usually means the CPU is overloaded. Any other questions?
Are the new notebooks compatible with Windows 7?
Yes. The new notebooks, netbooks, and laptops, all Windows 7. If you buy them new, yes, they're compatible.
Talk about Internet Explorer 8.
Internet Explorer 8 comes out in 2012.
In your presentation, you said that the Intel i7 was a 8-core. I thought it was a quad core.
Good catch. It's a quad core, but it is a virtual 8-core. If you look at your task manager, you'll see that there are 8 cores running. So Intel uses a concept called hyper-threading, where it will virtualize a core on it. So yeah, it is a truly, when you look at it, it's a quad core, but because of the hyper-threading to the operating system, it's an 8-core. Any other questions?
Did you have a question?
If you have Windows 7, can you dual mode to an XP on there so you can run a program? My wife started scanning slides. There's a slide scanner. That's a beautiful slide scanner. Only works with XP on projects.com. And it's we have a Windows 7 64-bit and another dual mode XP on this. And we only have the premium, not the professional.
Yeah, so I don't think the premium has the XP mode. but it has a compatibility mode, which is a little different than the XP mode. So you can right-click on the, you can install it like it was a regular program, and then it won't install. What happens when it doesn't install? Is it error message out? Okay. Yeah, so, you can try this. Go to, is it a CD? Is your program on a CD? So you would open up the CD, you would view the files that are on the CD, you would right-click on the EXE program, which is the install program, and then you would go to properties down there on that EXE program, and then you would go to the compatibility mode, and then you would tell it to run in a virtual XP mode. So it would install it it will install it in a virtual XP mode instead of installing it in a Windows 7 mode. Anybody else?
Going back to Internet Explorer, if I have Office now, even if I upgraded, would it work? Could I use the same email system that I have now?
Yeah, so you have Windows 7 and you want to use Outlook. Oh, you have Vista. I don't know when you upgrade, if it removes Windows Mail. That's the name. It removes it, right, Larry? Larry has experience here.
Well, I did that and it didn't come up, and finally I got a message from them that said, it won't work, go to Windows Mail Live.
Yes.
Is there a better one than Fox?
Well, Outlook is probably the best email program. Outlook Express, they discontinued because it cannot hold that many emails, and people were using it to store their emails, and then it crashed, and they were losing their emails. Windows Mail, they tried to redesign Windows Outlook Express, but and so that Windows Mail would store more emails, but that flopped too. So they, instead of putting more money into that, they just scrapped both of those, and now Microsoft only has Windows Outlook, the full version with the calendar and the date book and the journal and all that. That program uses a PST program, and that way of storing data and files and emails works. Businesses use it, and it should work for us too. Thunderbird works. You have to convert your DBX files, which is the Outlook Express type of storage, to a MX file system, which is a Unix-based email storage system. So there's that conversion that you have to go through to convert your mail from the Windows world to like the Linux world. So Thunderbird is a free alternative.
If you have Vista, did I understand you to say that you need to add more memory to the vision card because of the GUI complexities of Windows 7? Did I hear that right?
I don't think if you have Vista it will work, but if you have XP, you might have integrated video card. An integrated video card doesn't have its own memory, and the GUI in Windows 7 is very beautiful to look at, and there's a lot of stuff going on in here. It's turned off, I can't show you, but it takes a video card with a little bit of horsepower and memory on it, because the processor itself won't run that video.
Same topic. There's all kind of video cards out there, so when you're picking one, how much memory do you need? 5, 12, or do you go to the next step up?
I like that question. I like video cards. I used to be a gamer. I used to play these little war games on the internet. And so you had to have a good video card, so I made a little side hobby of studying video cards. I think what Windows 7, which I didn't talk about, improved upon too, is the DirectX part of the operating system, which displays graphics. Right out of the box, I was able to play, without any upgrade, a Blu-ray disc on my Blu-ray player within the operating system. I didn't even install my Blu-ray player. It's just the operating system was able to play the next level up Blu-ray files. So if you ever see Blu-ray on a high definition screen, it's worth getting a Blu-ray player. And the operating system, you have to have a video card that will play that. And most of the new video cards that you buy today check to see if they're Blu-ray compatible. And that's usually 512 megabytes of video RAM and up.
So 512 is enough?
Yes, I have a 512 and I play the Blu-ray. I think Dick is poised to take the mic from me. Thank you so much, everybody, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Honored to be here with you. Really enjoy it. I'll do it next year too.
Thank you, Dennis. We all learned a lot. And one more question. Who should buy a 64-bit Windows 7? Anybody?
I recommend getting the 64-bit because that way you don't have to upgrade later. So 64-bit is the right one to get.
Are we going to have to wait for the manufacturers to come out with a new software, though?
Yes, if you have an old printers and things like that, yes, you have to check to see if it's compatible. You have to go to the websites. You have to do your own research. Not everything's going to work right out of the box with Windows 7, but most things are.
Okay. One more thing, if you have Cox, I don't know if you're paying the $2.95 a month for maintenance. It's probably worth it. I pay $2.95 a month to Cox, and they'll come out whenever I want. If I see a slowness or something in the computer, they'll check every cable in the house.